Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion. Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus with 8 wins in a row. And again, where are we at here? Well, I'm pledging my allegiance to you on a daily basis that we're going to get our streak. We're going to do everything in our power to get our streak back to that 60 plus we had earlier. YN836JXY with a hematemesis that thankfully paid out. Runs have been pretty good. Only slightly spicy in some situations, and honestly, like I've learned, it's been a long time. It's been like 3 months since I lost a run that wasn't on like one of the first 2 floors. So it's really most fragile right now, although our HP is so good that that's not relevant. It's gonna take a lot, is all I'm saying. It's gonna take a lot to create a run where if we make it out of the first 2 floors, we're gonna still be at risk later. I mean, at risk, yes. Like, we almost lost on that one train wreck run that was 2-part, but you know what I mean when I say that. You know, what I'm trying to say is these are the most, you know, the fledgling days. And if we make it through the fledgling days, then everything else is probably hunky-dory. But hope everybody's doing well out there in YouTube land. As I record this, it is the 1st of the May. 1st of the May. Wake up, wake up. It's the 1st of the May. So pack your stuff, have a good day. It's Bone Thugs and Harmony. If you thought they were Bone Thugs Saul's Harmony, you would be mistaken. It's the 1st of May. Kind of like, I know it varies place to place. I know that people are sticklers as well for this, but I kind of consider the 1st of May is like the first day of summer. On a calendar level, no. On a an astronomical level, no. But from a weather standpoint, like I just define the seasons by their weather, essentially. Which, you know, I don't work as a meteorologist, so I have the luxury to basically draw those delineations in my life as I see fit. May is really the month where the weather starts to get very nice here. So I kind of see this as the first day of summer. It's a landmark day in the calendar, and obviously, you know, spending a lot of time staying inside, no denying that, but still, you know, enjoying the sunlight after a surprisingly, by Vancouver standards, warm, or not warm, sorry, snowy, wintry, that's the word I was looking for. Surprisingly wintry, winter. Sender? There you go. I will say, I think we take it. And really, that's fine. The reason I feel comfortable doing that is just because of the fact that we had the Eternal Heart. So I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, even though I'm not outside, I'm enjoying the weather. Like, the weather's so nice, I'm like, you know, ask me what I want to do on my day off. Maybe, like, go to the grocery store and just buy a staggering amount of chicken breasts and just grill them. Just stand outside, yeah, just grill them. Just to be in the presence of that vitamin D generator up there in the sky would be a nice Saturday in my book. It is Friday today. You'd know that if you looked at the calendar and you were like, May 1st. That was 2 weeks ago. Probably like 10 days ago. The backlog is a pretty consistent, like, 10 days right now. Whoa, that was very scary. Just heard, like, walking down the stairs and then my front door opening. It's probably my wife going to check the mail, though. I hope. Otherwise, somebody else was in my house and I was just robbed. Anyway, it is Friday. Friday is good. This is a pre-Checkpoint League video, but honestly, it's kind of I feel like, even though it's May, we're in like the June era of Checkpoint League right now. You know, I'm 7-1 in the league right now. I got 2 hard matches to finish it off. Today's match is against HC Justin. Tomorrow's match, or next Friday's match is against Bear Taffy. But like, really, I'm at the point where I'm like, you know, 7-1. My fortunes don't change that much. I can still dip to, like, I'm number 1 seed right now. I can still dip to number 3 seed. Number 3 seed does make a difference because you do have to compete in a playoff match in round 1. Without being rude to my good friend Daniel, Dan would be the seed that you would play if you were number 3. You would play him in number 6. He has, at present, lost every single match he's been a part of. Now, I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as a free win. Dan won some golden goblets for Mario Maker. I think he could win. I think it's literally within the realm of mathematical possibility, but it's pretty unlikely. And I think, I've always said this, but if I were the underdog, that's how I'd want people to talk about me as well. I wouldn't want them to be like, you know, on any given Sunday, I don't know. I'd want them to be like, you know, here's an honest appraisal of his performance up to this point, and to be honest with you, has been, you know, not that great. So, you know, if he wins, kudos to him. He had a great day and put, you know, he really put in the practice to get to that point. So, you know, nothing but respect, obviously, even though it sounds disrespectful. I've long been a maintainer of the fact that I think it's much more disrespectful to be like, even though, you know, one person might be like, let's say I'm 8-2 and he's 1-9, I'll be like, you still gotta treat him like a, well, you gotta treat him like a human being, obviously, but, you know, you gotta prepare for this the same way you prepare for any other match. I'm not taking anything, well, actually, these are all positive things to say. I'm not taking anything for granted. That's a very sensible attitude, but like, if I were on the other end, I wouldn't want the other person to be like, oh, I'm scared. Because, you know, this is exactly what he wants, is for you to get in a position of, no, I think you just accept it, okay? You're the favorite. I know it's not comfortable to be the favorite. You got to lean into it a little bit. So we are going to, I think we're going to do it, but it's a little dangerous. Now, did I go to the item room? No, I have not been to the item room, because I don't have a key. All right. Will we get a key, or perhaps just an entrance? We'll see. So I certainly don't mean to disrespect my good friend Daniel. I'm just saying, you know, when it comes down to brass tacks, it doesn't change the expected outcome too much. That's not a key. You're not gonna like this, but I'm just gonna move on. I'm gonna go down on the next floor, mostly because I hate this curse. I'm sorry you say it, but our stats are amazing. So, you know, it's like the reason I called it the June of Checkpoint League is because, you know, in Canada, or at least in Ontario, where I went to school, elementary school to high school students, you know, the school year stops in June, you know, around the end of June. So by the time you hit, like, you know, the first week of June, you're not really doing that much in school that's particularly relevant, you know. Your teacher's already covered all the others. This is in a normal year, at least. Obviously, this year's going to be a little bit different, but you've already covered all this stuff you're going to cover. You're going to be doing a lot of, like, you know, pseudo-educational game playing. You're going to be solving some brain teasers. You might watch, you know, for like 4 years in a row, this is sincere, for like 4 years in a row, we watched Armageddon in the final week of school. Everybody, I mean, this was around the time the movie came out. It was well liked at the time. Times have changed. Well, at least it was well liked by the 8th grade demographic, of which I was a part of. Even I, as a snob, was like, I mean, yeah, I'd rather we watched like a Werner Herzog documentary, but on the other hand, Armageddon's still pretty sick. By the way, I recognize, trust me right now when I say, I ain't taking this for granted. I'm very happy that we were able to get to another Spirit Heart there and hopefully get ourselves out of a period of relative anxiety, but, like, let's be honest. It's still, even though we got low, it would have taken a lot of Plinko chips falling in exactly the wrong places for us to truly start to suffer some danger there. Watched a lot of Armageddon. I remember we watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory once. And a Devon Sawa, Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie called, not Born to be Wild. Maybe it's called Wild America. If you don't know who Jonathan Taylor Thomas is, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, oh, the demographic that posts fan cams on Twitter is going to be very upset with what I'm about to say, but it's the best way to make a comparison, I think. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was a child actor from, you know, like my era, so he's roughly my age, maybe a couple of years older, and I would describe him almost as like the Timothée Chalamet of his era. He was the it guy. If you want to laugh, the two boys slash men that girls in my generation when I was an adolescent that were most into, it was Jonathan Taylor Thomas, aka the middle child on Home Improvement, and Prince William. Sorry, I had to take a second to remember what prince is bald. I can say it. You're gonna rush to his defense? I'm bald too. Should have waited for that key though. And that's just, it just goes to show you, you know, things change. But you know, you're not the first generation to have your Timothy Chalamets and your Cole Sprouses and your Matty B raps. I know what I said. I just wanted to embarrass you. Well, anyway, we're on the Depths 1, 9 minutes into this run. And we generated like 7 demon hearts on the last floor. I mean, this is just, it's a steamroll. Much in the same way that I won't insult Dan's intelligence by being like, we're about even money in Mario Maker. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. It'd be like, anything can happen. This one's going to be a win. If you were watching to see me lose twice on quarantine, it don't happen. At least not yet. At least not yet. What else have we got going on? Not too much. Just, I mean, you know, what do you want me to say? Been playing some Call of Duty Warzone. It's an amazing game. I always maintain you can't insult me for playing Call of Duty Warzone, because I have probably purchased the most indie games out of anybody on planet Earth in 2020. And I'm maybe, like, it's possible I might not be #1. I'm willing to accept that. And I do receive a lot of codes for free, I'll admit. But, like, we're talking, like, how many days are we in? We're like 120 days in here. I bet I've purchased 90 indie games in 2020 so far. So if you want to get on my case about playing Call of Duty, I would love to hear about 91 of the purchases you've made this year to support indie gaming. Oh, wait, you haven't? Alright, well, let the guy who supports his local restaurants get a Big Mac now and then when he feels like it, okay? Especially when the Big Mac is so lovingly crafted and a perfect evolution of the hamburger profile. It's a good game. In fact, I'll tell you, it's so good that I've actually considered, I already have it on PC. I mean, it's free, right? I've considered downloading it on PS4 as well, so that when I finish work, instead of maybe like watching some Netflix on occasion or playing some NHL 20, where I'll have you know, I now have a 12-8 record, so I'm basically an esports legend. Ooh. I could maybe play some console Warzone. But then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do the thing. It's happened before where, like, we get really into a game, and then, like, you know, everybody's super stoked. Oh, this is going to be amazing. We're going to have so many great streams of this. And then, like, and if you haven't been watching, the streams have been great for the record. But, you know, then, like, we overdose on it in our off time. We come back the next week, and instead of being like, you know, poggers, I got a gun. We're like, oh, that stupid idiot is using a meta gun, and now I'm mad instead of excited. So you know, you gotta limit yourself sometimes to avoid that kind of stuff, I think. So, if we're off to the optimum start today, now that the run is set in stone, the universe should see fit to just give us an absolutely dominant item. Just so that, you know, we ain't wasting our time, you know? Because this one's already, it's so guaranteed to be the W. You might as well just give me Mom's knife. Or pull a Invicta and give me 2 brimstones. I'll take either. Hold on, I'm just hydrating here for a second. Dank Depths 2 at 12 minutes. This is it's a wild one. Just because, oh, dude, it's so good too. It's a wild one just because of the fact that I think we've really had a lot of slower than usual runs lately. Runs where it's been tough for us to get to boss rush. This one is like, is gonna cream it. So, again, if we have a commitment to doing the little things right, even on a run where doing the little things right doesn't matter at all, we still should opt to give a chance to go to the shop for store credit to pay dividends, and then get Cracked Crown back. We got like 20 cents. No, we got like 17 cents in that one chest. That's so good. But yeah, we should, I mean, it's very easy to be like, you know what? Oh, we got a big hammer here. So, you know, we don't have to hit the nail right on the head. We can still succeed, even if we aren't playing at, you know, peak efficiency or whatever, peak performance. But let's, instead of doing that, let's recognize that sometimes success can breed bad habits. You know, if you're already in shape, your diet can be a little worse and maybe not affect you as much as it affects somebody that's trying to get in shape, because you've already put in a little bit of the legwork. Now, it's a positive that you can lean on for a little bit of extra, you know, like, you know, a tolerance break, if you will. But at the same time, we don't need that tolerance break right now. What we need more than that is the steadfastness of having good tactics and, you know, playing the game the right way, so that when we truly find ourselves in danger, we already have the toolkit pre-programmed with what it needs to do to take us to that next degree of success. Which is really just consistency at this point. Sure. And sure. And a mousse for breakfast and ensure for dessert. Somebody order pancakes. I just sipped the scissor. That right there could drive a sane man berserk. That's right. Whose song is that? Leonard Cohen. That's famous Blue Raincoat. Mixed with Hallelujah. It's a remix by Kanye West. Why does so many rappers have a nickname like Blanksy? You know, not Banksy, but like, you know, Holla. It is Lil Weezy. They cannot see me. They are like, I am wearing a ton, or burning a ton like Leafy. Sorry, that's Lil Wayne, aka Lil Weezy, from his Upgrade You remix from 2007, one of Pitchfork Media's top 100 songs of the year 2011. A very relatable song for me, because he says, that's a hockey team, and I ain't know no hockey teams, but I'm a champion, where's the frickin' Rocky theme? Very, very relatable lyric for me. And then I go, it's called Gonna Fly Now, Weezy. Can you work that in there? It's called Gonna Fly Now. It's by Bill Conti, a.k.a. Bill Skeezy, a.k.a. $3 Bill Skeezy. I don't know much about rap nicknames. It was definitely not different, quote unquote, back in my day. Everyone back in my day was Lil something, Lil Bow Wow. I always thought that was like a bad name. You don't want to call yourself Lil Bow Wow, because when you're like, I mean, if you start being Lil Bow Wow when you're an adult, that's okay. But if you start rapping as Lil Bow Wow, and then you become larger, it strikes people as comical, right? It's like branding your channel Ryan's Toy Review. What if that kid turns like, you know, 25 and all of a sudden he's like, I want to review, you know, not toys. I want to review, you know, Napa Valley wines or something like that. Well, good luck on YouTube. Unfortunately, that's demonetizable content because it involves consuming adult beverages. But at the same time, a Michelob Ultra ad will air right in front of it. Oh, he's putting the whole system on trial today. He's going off. Yeah, I don't think you should... Like, there's kids, you know, been watching some mom vloggers. I know mom vloggers get, like, a little bit of a bad rap. And there's some of it is deserved, in my opinion. Not to be rude to them. But I'm like... And Dan and I have talked about this on Check the Wire. I don't mind putting, like, a little kid/baby stuff up on the internet. But at the same time, when you structure, like, a whole YouTube channel around the rearing of your child... It makes me a little uncomfortable because the child doesn't have the ability to be like, yeah, I'm into this, or like, stop this, you know? Even like, Like, the toy review stuff even... I'm not going to say it rubs me too much the wrong way, but it's like, you know, even if that kid's 9... A 9-year-old doesn't know the consequences of, like, living their whole life online, right? Like, that's... They can't make an informed decision. Like, 40-year-olds don't know the consequences of living your whole life online. So we definitely do want mom's knife here. But it's definitely, like, there's a difference between a 9-year-old being like, I want to make videos on YouTube. Or, you know, like a 13-year-old being like, I want to make videos on YouTube. Versus, like, you're like, hey, I'm going to show your most vulnerable moments. You know, when you're first... Like, you pop out of the womb, and then, like, 2 seconds later, you're on video. That's... And, you know, like, for a home video, whatever. But, like, to put it on YouTube and then be like, please subscribe to see more of my child. It's just, it's... I don't think it makes you even close to a bad person. It just kind of is a little weird for me, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people are going to agree with me, which is why I actually... You know, I want to say that I don't think it makes you, like, morally reprehensible. It's just something I'm not super comfortable with, but I always wonder, some of these channels, they're like, you know, my channel name is like... can I tell you that all I thought of in my head is my channel name is Mamma Mia? But yeah, my channel name is, you know, Mia the Mom. What about, like, when you're... I mean, you can still make it work, I guess. If you get popular in, like, in 10 years and, you know, your kid has moved out or whatever. But, like... You know, what if all of a sudden you're like, I can't define myself exclusively by that identity anymore? But I guess that's sort of something, that's putting the cart before the horse. As like people who are like, I've got a great new idea for a website, it's gonna beat Facebook, but I'm just worried, how much equity should I give my friends to not cause, you know, disputes in the future? Maybe, you know, worry about making the website and the business and et cetera, before you worry about like the best way to handle your imaginary billions of dollars. Yeah, that's probably a sensible approach. That's probably what I would recommend to myself if someone had asked me this question, or if I had asked myself this question. Does that make sense? I'm Ron Burgundy. I think about it from time to time. I think about a lot of things from time to time. I got a lot of time to think in some ways. What does that mean? I don't know. Who doesn't have a lot of time to think? You know, you're doing it every day. Like, passively, right? I don't know. I've been listening to this audiobook on and off. And again, you know, you remember from my incredible meme that I have not yet posted. I don't really remember anything about most of the audiobooks and podcasts I listen to, because I listen to them right before bed and fall asleep. And by the way, I don't think that requires a refactoring. I think that's the knowledge I would gain. I love knowledge. I love education. I love data. I even love anecdotes when interpreted properly. However, any knowledge I would gain from a podcast is worth less than the slumber that it gives me. Just 'cause, that's not because I undervalue education or learning. It's because I am one of the few people that I know that doesn't undervalue sleep and doesn't consider getting a lack of sleep to be a virtue. You know, I think it's easier to just get 8 hours of sleep and also grow a personality than be like, oh, you slept 7.5 to 9 hours last night? That's cute. I slept 3 hours, so I'm a better person. But you've heard me talk about this subject a lot, especially on the flip side when people are like, oh, it's cold in Vancouver? Well, I live in the Arctic Circle. I live at McMurdo Station in Antarctica. And even penguins are freezing to death. That's cool. I'm happy for you. If I were in Antarctica, I'd like to think that I would do something else with my time, like look out the window and, you know, recognize that I'm in like a truly otherworldly place and kind of enjoy my limited time in those surroundings, instead of tweeting other people and going like, hey, check it out, I'm in Antarctica. It's torture. But the thing that got me is, like, right at the start of the audiobook, the author says, like, I'm going to demonstrate that there's like 2 different kinds of, you know, I don't want to call them brain patterns, because that just is pseudoscientific, like, weirdness. Basically, that's me using a word because I don't understand what he was saying. But, you know, there's active thought and then there's passive thought. Like, if I ask you, as an adult at least, what's like, you know, 6 plus 6? You don't even have to think about it, really, or it's happening behind the scenes, you know? You don't, let me even rephrase. You don't get to choose to calculate it. It just pops in, right? Like if I say 6 plus 6, in your head, even if you're like, you know, I don't want to think about this, you're thinking about 12. However, if I asked you to multiply like, you know, 371 times 12, you actually get a choice of whether or not to think about that and calculate it. And, you know, you might decide that it's unpleasant to try to calculate it. And as a result, that unpleasantness, or the existence of that unpleasantness, seems to indicate that there's obviously like an effort applied in order to calculate it and get to the results. And I don't know what the conclusion was because I fell asleep. But I was like, it's very interesting. And it's obviously, you know, something that I think everybody's experienced in their life. But I never had really thought about it in that way. That, you know, there are some things where it's basically an unconscious calculation, but then as things become more complicated, your brain actually is like, hey, just before I do this, do you really want me to dedicate the energy to this, or do you just want to, like, you know, you just want to just chill out on this one? Just wait for, you know, one of the Poindexters in class to be like, it's 4,132. And then you'll be like, I got the answer. I didn't even have to work for it. So I don't really have like a conclusion to draw from that. Again, because I don't remember anything else. I just remember that unique part. And I was like, I'll let that thought take me off to dreamland. It got me thinking a little bit. I think that's true not just for like mathematical expressions, but sometimes, you know, even for like, you know, painful memories from your past. Sometimes they just surface and you're like, I didn't have a choice. You just reminded me of like that time I called my 3rd grade teacher mom and it was really awkward. And sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, I could think about something traumatic right now, and you're like, not right now, please. And your brain's like, all right, cool, I'll save that for when you're trying to fall asleep in 6 months. So there's really no conclusion there, but the conclusion of this run is upon us. And this was it was a good one. It was an easy one. I got no complaints whatsoever. That's going to take us to 9. And we even did some of the little things right, although now I remember I definitely did not go back for store credit, but it didn't matter because we had enough money anyway to buy everything in the shop. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. And hey, if you watched all 27 minutes and 30 seconds up to this point, I'm going to assume you enjoyed the video. Click the like button if you would. It's the best way to support the channel. It sends a message to YouTube. I like this guy's content. Show it to more people. You're happy. I'm happy. You're happy because I'm making more content. I'm happy because more people are watching the content. Everybody's happy. Click the button if you enjoyed it. Apart from that, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!